Hello guys, today I'll be ranking the Incubus albums. Now I have all their albums on CD, but I also have these here. The Trust Fall Side A EP, the Incubus Mix, and the Enjoy Incubus EP, and When Incubus Attacks Volume 1. These are definitely worth owning if you're a fan of Incubus or a collector of Incubus. But yeah, I love Incubus. They do have that new EP coming out, Trust Fall Side B, which I'm kind of excited for. The reason I say kind of is because, I mean, the two singles we've gotten, Into the Summer and Our Love, they don't have the strongest replay value for me personally. I do like them. Into the Summer has even grown on me a little bit. Of the two, I do like Our Love more, but both songs are good though. But again, don't have the strongest replay value, but I'm still somewhat excited for the EP. But as I've done some researching, I've noticed that there's no physical CD for this EP, which I'm a little bit disappointed about because I would have loved to pre-order it and just give my support to the band, but it is what it is. Again, a little bit disappointing, but I'm still either way looking forward to the EP. But anyways, let's go ahead and rank these albums. And keep in mind, this is just my personal ranking. You don't have to agree. Certain parts of my ranking could change at any time. And yeah, we're going to go from worst to best. Let's go ahead and get started. At the bottom, I have If Not Now, When. The reason I have this album at the bottom is mainly because some of the songs are kind of boring, and out of all their albums, this is the album that I go back to the least. But either way, it does have its highlights though, like the title track, Promises, Promises, Thieves, Switchblade, and Adolescence. I think Adolescence is pretty good, and Switchblade, kind of an underrated song. But yeah, again, I do think it's their worst, but at the same time, it's a decent album. Some people say that, some fans say it's straight up bad, which I disagree with, but it's gonna have to be at the bottom for me again due to the lack of replay value compared to their other albums, and some of the songs just not gripping me as other songs or as much as other songs in their discography. But anyways, next we have Fungus Among Us. Now, I'm sure I might get looks for putting this album above If Not Now, When, and that's okay, that's totally understandable. Kind of an odd album, kind of different, but I think it's kind of a fun album. It does have its highlights, like You'll Be a Hot Dancer, interesting song, but you also have Trouble on 421, Take Me to Your Leader, which is probably the best song on the album. You also have Speak Free, which I think is kind of an underrated song. I like the guitar in that one. And you also have the album closer, Helikus, or I Like Us, which is also a solid song on the album. But yeah, this album kind of has its share of underrated songs. Yeah, it's not their best, but also not their worst, at least in my opinion. But next we have 8. This is a good album. I liked it when it came out, but I'll be honest, not all the songs really gripped me. Like Love in a Time of Surveillance, that's always been my least favorite on the album. It's a decent song, but it just never grabbed me as much as other songs on the album personally. But the album does have its highlights. Make No Sound of the Digital Forest, I think it's kind of an underrated instrumental. I really like that instrumental. Familiar Faces, State of the Art, Nimble Bastard, No Fun. No Fun is maybe my favorite on the album, but the reason why it's more closer to the bottom is mainly because, I don't know, the album to me doesn't feel like it has much sense of direction. It feels a little bit scattered, like maybe a bunch of songs just thrown together into one album. I mean, I still like the album, it's just that I wish it had more direction, more focus. But either way, I do like the album again. But next we have A Crow Left of the Murder. And when I was getting into Incubus, this was an album that I did struggle with, but over time it really grew on me. Now, it's not my favorite album by these guys or anything, but I still think it's a solid album. I mean, those first 7 songs I think are straight up excellent. I mean, Six Sad Little World is hands down one of their best songs. I love the guitar work in that song, especially the middle section. just hearing Mike just feel free to do whatever he wants in that middle section, just really showing off maybe. But I don't know, I absolutely love Six Sad Little World. Mega Lomaniac is also really good too. The title track I also really enjoy. Now you get to the second half, and the second half is mainly the reason why it's not my favorite or one of my favorites. But the second half does have its highlights like Priceless and Here in My Room and Smile Lines. But yeah, it's a good album. Yeah, sure, yeah, it's not my favorite, but again, I do like the album overall. And I do like the fact that it's grown on me too, because this album does have its share of great songs for sure. Now, next we have Light Grenades. Now, with this album, I think it kind of has its share of underrated songs. To name some of those, The Kiss to Send Us Off, the title track, Rogues. Those are some that come to mind, but you also have the hit Dig, which is easily one of their best songs. The emotion, the melodies, such a good song. And you also have Anna Molly and Love Hurts, which are also really good too, but this is a pretty solid album. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to Make Yourself. And I know many fans would put this album at the top, but you'll understand why I put a different album at the top when we get there. But yeah, this is a pretty good album. It's definitely a classic. It has many of the classic songs, of course, like Stellar, Drive, and Pardon Me. But I also really like the instrumental Battlestar Scholastica, if I pronounced that correctly. I really enjoy that instrumental. Privilege and Nowhere Fast are also really good. When It Comes and Clean, in my opinion, are really underrated songs that don't get enough attention from fans. But yeah, Make Yourself, definitely a great album, definitely a classic in its genre. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to Science. It is a fan favorite, and for good reason too. I love this album. Some of my favorites are Redefine, Idiot Box, New Skin, A Certain Shade of Green, Summer Romance. We also have the song Nebula, which is maybe one of their heaviest songs. I don't know. I love Nebula. I just really dig the guitar work in that song. But yeah, this album kind of has it all. I really dig this album. And it's easily one of their best in my opinion. Now I move to what is at the top, Morning View. I love this album. It's maybe one of my favorite albums of all time. I don't know. I mean, I really love this one. I do have the edition that comes with the DVD. Here we go. This is what it looks like. But yeah, I absolutely love this album. It has my favorite Incubus song of all time, that being Nice to Know You. I love that song. There is not a single weak or uninteresting moment in that song, in my opinion. Absolutely love that song. But you also have some other highlights like the hit Wish You Were Here. You also have Circles. Just a Phase is also really good. But you also have some deep cuts that I think are pretty underrated, like 11 a.m., Blood on the Ground, and Echo. I mean, if you're a fan of the more melodic side of Incubus, then you should dig Echo. But RUN, I really like that song. Kind of an underrated single from these guys. But yeah, absolutely love this album. But anyways, that's my ranking for Incubus. Let me know your ranking. Are there certain placements in my ranking that you disagree with, or some that you agree with? Let me know some of your favorite or least favorite songs or albums from these guys and all that good stuff. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment and a like, subscribe. Have a nice day, and take care.